Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 57th Rome Total War Brotherhood battle that I've put onto YouTube. Before I do the introductions, I would just like to announce that Brotherhood member Talos is organising a 3v3 tournament on Rome Total War next Saturday, which is the 29th of March. It's just going to be a 3v3 tournament and one knockout game, and it's all going to be played Saturday night, so that it'll all be done then. None of this type of tournament where it goes on and on for weeks or months. It'll all be done Saturday night, and as I say, it's a 3v3 tournament. All the details are on the Brotherhood website, and the Brotherhood website address is where the description of this battle is. If you just go to the description of this battle, you'll see it there. The team in this battle today consists of Brotherhood member Sid, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. We have Brotherhood member Kendi, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. Kendi is the most continuous, long-serving member of the Brotherhood clan and has been in for a long time. Then we have Brotherhood member Samurai, who has bought the Rome Scipii faction. And myself, Spartan Commander, who has also bought the Rome Scipii faction. Just to say, this game is from the Brotherhood archives and was played approximately 7 years ago. I just thought I'd like to show you that if you notice that most of our team have got lots of archers in their armies, which is something you don't see in 31k games these days. And the reason for that is, in those days, 7 to 8 years ago, whenever we faced Greek cities with their great Cretan archers, we always seemed to bring lots of archers of our own just to counter those Cretan archers. So that's why you'll see we've got so many archers in our armies here. If you notice there how Kendi puts his cavalry into like a semicircle formation there. And just to have a look at the army and formation that I was using 7 to 8 years ago, as you can see, it's a very wide formation, but hardly any depth at all. And but it seemed to work for me at the time, and when I look at it now, it's very old-fashioned. That's the Brotherhood team. And here is the other team. We have Hell member Old Greg with the Brutii faction. We have King's member King Sinister, who has bought the Greek Cities faction. We have the Creator clan, someone from the Creator clan called Victor. And then we have MAS Balian, who has also bought Brutii on the end there. So that's the other team there. You can see I'm just going to pause the game there for us to have a look at a Greek cities army from about 7 to 8 years ago. As you can see here, he's got armoured hoplites instead of Spartans for the bulk of his army, and he's got 3 Spartan units at the back. Now if you notice there's 3 Spartan units, can you see the flags just above the units? That goes to show that they've got 7 upgrades on each. So my guess is there he's got a stripe gold upgrades on those 3 Spartans there. And as you know, Spartans are extremely expensive, so that's why he's probably gone for high upgrades on there, and armoured hoplites for the rest of his army there. So that's the enemy army, and it looks pretty good to me. Should be a great battle to watch. Yeah, as we were talking about how many archers our team had bought for this battle, as I say, from about 7 or 8 years ago, if we count them up, I think you'll see that our 4 armies between us have bought 16 archers. I bet you don't see 16 archers in a 4v4 31k battle these. And just to even things up a bit, if you notice that the enemy team have actually got loads and loads of archers as well. I think the Greek cities have got at least 6. I see Greg had another 2, so that's 8. There's about another 4 there, and I think the other team's got about 3 or 4 as well. So there's something like about 12 or 13 archers in the enemy team as well. All getting ready for the big archer battle probably. At this stage of the battle, you can see that the archers are both from both teams are trying to kill each other here. This is the kind of like in those days a traditional archer battle. Can you see here that one of Samurai's infantry units at the front there is being shot in the flank by some Greek city Cretan archers, and if you see, it's reduced those units down, that unit down to about 49 men already. So it goes to show that flanking archer fire can be quite devastating. As you can see here, I actually, for this particular army, I only bought cheap archers, the cheaper ones. So actually being killed by the more expensive archers is just making them use up their better arrows on my my rubbish archers. At this early stage of the battle, you'll see that one of the enemy teams, Old Greg from the Hell Clan, is doing a right flanking action onto Brotherhood member Sid there. And Sid's got a funny formation there. As you see, it's certainly not what you call a normal Roman formation there. And if you notice that Kendy's got his SBQR cavalry out to the far right there, and actually have got them behind Old Greg's army there. So they're in quite a threatening position to have his cavalry out there. Meanwhile, over on the far left flank, you can see my army there is actually doing a small left flank in action there. Just moving out slightly to the left, just to try and keep the enemy guessing there. So that's the general disposition of the armies so far. Let's see what happens next. Now here you can see that Brotherhood member Sid has put all his infantry into testudo formation there, and as you can see what testudo is, it's a great formation there for defence, where all your men are covered by shields there, and and that's his response to Old Greg doing that right flanking action there. As you can see, Kendy's slightly to his left there, facing the Greek city armoured hoplites there. Now my guess is here that these archers look a little bit exposed, so that's why he's going to charge his cavalry. But if you notice, Sid was ready for that move and had his cavalry positioned, ready to hit the Brutii cavalry there. But wisely now, Sid's going to move back because he knows that most of those Brutii infantry have still got their pilers left, so he doesn't want to get involved with getting his cavalry piloted. As you can see, the Brutii, Old Greg's Brutii infantry now are attacking Sid's infantry here. But if you notice at the back, Kendy's got his cavalry right behind. There, can you see? He got his cavalry right behind Old Greg's army there in a very threatening position. And if you notice, Sid's cavalry is out there to the right as well. So even though Old Greg's attacking with his Brutii forces there, he's still got a lot of threat around him. If you notice, his teammate is moving the 3 Spartan units with those big upgrades on over to support him there. Obviously seeing all the cavalry around him. If you notice right at the back there, you can see that Kendy's cavalry is in battle with a couple of the enemy Brutii cavalry units there. Meanwhile, over on the left flank there, you can see that the position of where my infantry are, I can maybe even move further around to the left there, and I've got my cavalry threatening to attack there as well if I so wish to in this at this stage of the battle. As you can see, Samurai's infantry are just facing the enemy at the moment, where he's got all his powerful cavalry behind them. And if you notice here, Kendy is now attacking the Spartan hoplites. Now, anybody new to the game watching this that might fancy playing with a pike faction, notice a big mistake here. The pike units now are all spread out, allowing the Roman infantry to be able to get around the side and the rear of those pike units, their most vulnerable position. When you fight with pike units, you must try and keep them really close together and don't let the enemy infantry round the side or the rear of your units. As I say, this is 7 to 8 years ago, so people are still learning how to use pike units properly then. Oh, meanwhile over here on the right, you can see Sid has charged his cavalry in against some of the enemy Brutii infantry and cavalry there. As you can see, the enemy Brutii general is bringing over even more infantry here to counter Sid's cavalry hit there. Probably a lot of you watching this now would probably think, right, it's time to pull that cavalry out. It's done its job, it hit, maybe time to pull it out. But Sid's obviously wanting to keep them there a bit longer than maybe a lot of people would, especially when you're facing infantry. Meanwhile, at the back here, you can see Kendy is facing even more Brutii cavalry here, and it'll be interesting to see how his cavalry does against those that Brutii cavalry there. There's a bit of close-up fighting there between the cavalry units. If you notice, they're using their swords and not the light lances that they carry in that hand-to-hand battle there.
Our allies have lost
And I think that Sid's general's just been killed there. I think Brotherhood member Sid's general's there. If you notice, there's a heck of a lot of Brutii infantry plus those 2 Spartan units fighting. And if you notice, right from the far left flank, I'm bringing my cavalry over here to try and help my allies out. I think it's 5 units of cavalry now. I'm going to try and charge in to the Brutii enemy infantry, but I'm going to try and avoid those Spartans. If you notice, the Spartan units are very close to where I'm charging in, but I just want to charge through my allies' infantry into the enemy infantry there, aiming for his general. Can you see his general's on the right of his infantry there? And I was trying to smash in there to try and kill him with my cavalry there.
Praised. The enemy general is killed. Fear makes a home in our enemies' hearts.
And as you can see, Sid's infantry is holding quite well against the aggressive attack of the Brutii infantry there. And now I'm going to pull my cavalry out again after that hit, probably with a view to charging them back in again. But as I say, they've got the enemy Spartan units there as well, so I've got to be careful about that. What might be a good idea might be to bring my cavalry round the flank or the rear of the fighting enemy units and charge in from that direction, rather than head on straight through my my allies there. You see I'm swinging around to the right. I may well try and hit from the flank now. Bang. See my cavalry charge in there. It's not doing what I was hoping for. I was hoping I was going to rout some of those Brutii infantry units, but they're holding really well there. So I'm probably going to pull my cavalry out there pretty quick. If you notice over here, you can see a lot of Kendi's units have been routed by a massive Brutii cavalry hit there. If you can see, Brotherhood member Samurai now is bringing his fresh Scipii cavalry straight into the fray there against the Brutii cavalry and infantry units there. That's a massive cavalry hit there into Brutii, and to be honest with you, I was expecting to see a mass rout of Brutii units there, so they've done really well to hold against that. That was one massive cavalry hit there. If you notice, I'm bringing my cavalry units around the rear of the enemy army now, with a view to smash into the rear of the engaged enemy infantry. And bang. If you notice though, he saw that I was coming and he's turned those units to face me now, but I'm just hoping with the impact of my cavalry I'm going to rout at least one of those Brutii units there. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. As you see, yeah, I've managed to rout one of them there with the impact of my cavalry. Meanwhile, we're over in the centre here. Samurai's doing really good with his cavalry. Over on the far left, you can see that Samurai's infantry and the Brutii infantry are fighting an aggressive battle. And over on the far left, you can see my infantry fighting the Brutii infantry as well. So there's a lot happening at the moment on the whole battlefield here.
The enemy general is slain, and now his men fear us. It is time to press the attack. I
think Samurai's just won that little battle he was fighting with the Brutii infantry and cavalry there. If you notice here, I'm bringing my cavalry back round, right the way round from the other flank, and I'm looking to charge into these fighting Brutii units. Now, did you notice that some of those Brutii units turned to face me there, where the general spotted my cavalry charging in? If you notice, Samurai's bringing his cavalry over as well now, in a massive hit onto the Brutii engaged infantry. So I'm expecting a lot of those Brutii units to rout now with the impact of both our cavalry. If you notice on the far left, my infantry's managed to rout the enemy that I was fighting, so I'm now bringing my infantry over to the far right, where there's still a lot of enemy units. So we've managed to win the left flank and pretty well in the centre, so we just need to get reinforcements over to our allies on the right. If you notice, most of Kendi's army has been routed after a really aggressive battle that he was fighting there, but he's still got a lot of archers left. And if you notice, he's firing the fire arrows into the enemy infantry there, and as you all may know, fire arrows lower the morale of enemy troops, obviously as well as causing casualties. So with him firing the fire arrows into those enemy units, that should be interesting. Now watch this. Can you see cavalry charging into a Spartan unit? Now, did you notice that his general got killed as soon as the impact had hit into those cavalrymen there? And that's something that a lot of you might not do these days, and that's charge your cavalry headlong into a Spartan unit. Even though it was walking, it's still a very powerful unit. And as you know, it's anti-cavalry. It's got 2 hit points and excellent morale. So to charge that cavalry into that Spartan unit was an unusual tactic to do, and I don't think you'd see it done very often these days. As you can see, I'm bringing my infantry over. My victorious infantry from the left now is moving over to the right. As you see, I'm still got my cavalry, several of my units of cavalry left. I'm going to charge straight into the enemy ranks now. As you can see, the Greek city general is still alive, the pike unit, but as my cavalry unit hits there, the charge bonus impact of that cavalry has just routed a lot of the remainder of the enemy units that are left.
Your general now lies dead because of his foolishness. His men will lose heart.
So as you see, that's the last. I think there's a couple more enemy units left over there, and I think they'll soon probably rout, or they're generally giving there. As you can see, there's how many dead there are on the battlefield here. You can see how intense the fighting was. You can see there's a heck of a lot of cavalry there. The first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. As I say, that was a game from about 7 or 8 years ago. I thought the other team played very well. Just to draw your attention, can you see this flying urban cohort up in the air just above the kills there? Can you see that there? And that used to happen a lot until they bought in the last, I think it's the last patch they bought in seemed to cure that. But very often in battle you'd see a flying urban unit above the dead. But I thought it was a great battle. Can you see, just like to draw your attention to Kendi's great kills. If you notice throughout that battle, he was extremely aggressive. And the key to getting good kills in RTW is to be aggressive. The more aggressive you are, kind of, the more the kills you get. So really well played to the other team. Really well played to the Brotherhood team. And as I say, it's nice to watch a battle from 7 or 8 years ago. And it was interesting to see all those archers that the 31k players used to bring then. So this is Spartan Commander saying hope to see you soon, and bye for now, and don't forget the Saturday tournament. Bye now.